Do you believe in alternate universes?
You are listening to Delayed Replay.
The improvised movie review podcast. Wink.
Everything is fine here. We're all fine. Just sit tight and listen to them talk about the movies they definitely saw.
Don't delay. We have to listen right away.
Hello, listeners. This is Steven Schinder, Delayed Replay, that podcast where we talk about movies and review them. This is kind of a weird episode because we ended up in this escape room. I'm not sure. I can't remember how we ended up in here.
Steven, stop talking to the microphone and help me out over here.
Oh, yeah, I mean, dress Serrano. Oh, 1 second. Dang.
All right, well, you keep talking to the mic. I'll try to figure it out.
All right. We tried calling for help, but I guess the signal's bad, so we figured, hey, we should just record.
Luckily, Steven brings his recording equipment everywhere we go, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I woke up with this on me, so...
Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. I woke up with nothing but duct tape, so...
Yeah, I'm really sorry about, I was trying to pull it off, quick so that the pain would be brief, but I didn't expect it to, hurt you that much.
You ripped part of my beard out, Steven.
I mean, it'll grow back.
Oh, I'm gonna rip a few hairs off your head and see how you like it.
Well, joke's on you. I don't have a lot of hair on my head. Unless you mean my chin, in which case there is a whole lot.
And then I'll rip that off, Steven, and you'll see how much it hurts.
All right. Well, we shouldn't turn against each other. You've seen the movies. We got to do teamwork and whatnot. Let's see. There's a desk.
I have a bookshelf over here with a bunch of books, obviously.
Oh yeah, they even have the Lord of the Rings there. That's odd.
That seems a little too specific to me. All right, Steven, I'm going in. I'm gonna pick up the Lord of the Rings. No. All right. Doesn't trigger anything. I'm gonna see if there's any clues within the book. You can keep talking to the mic if you want while I look for a clue.
Oh wait, hang on. I think a note fell out of it when you opened it. Hang on.
Am I that blind?
Let's see. It says, "Talk about Escape Room 2 and you will be free."
Oh, I should have known. They would eventually capture us and force us to record an episode. I should have known.
Well, I mean, this movie, just came out, so we were going to talk about it anyway, right?
Steven, what if this is a publicity stunt?
I mean, if it is, I have no idea what's happening.
Maybe it's all a giant stunt for Escape Room 2, which, as of the moment, if I remember correctly, had no trailers at the time until I saw it, and then I saw trailers everywhere.
Yeah, they really kept it under wraps. That was a really weird marketing technique.
Why would you just not release a trailer, especially when it was only coming out a year after the first one?
I guess since it's the second one, people kind of know what to expect after seeing the first one. But the first one wasn't that popular, I don't think. I haven't heard a whole lot of people talking about it. But
all I know is everybody wanted to see it, and then nobody saw it.
Well, I guess we should go over our thoughts of
all right, Steven,
the first movie.
Let's pull up these chairs and this convenient table in the middle of the room, and let's talk about this. All right.
Okay.
Oh, it's pretty comfy, actually. It's almost like they expected me to be here for a while.
Yeah, it's weird. So, the first movie, obviously there will be spoilers for both of these movies, but I actually enjoyed the first movie more than I thought I would. It seemed like it'd be a Saw ripoff, but it doesn't even have that much blood like a Saw movie would have.
What's that term they have for these movies that just love to give blood? There's a term, gore something. And well, whatever that term is, Saw usually falls under that category where they say it's just a love for gore and they just show blood and gore as much as they can. And Escape Room 100% did not feel like that. But this definitely wasn't like your Friday the 13th and everything. Like, it wasn't that bad.
Right. Like I was paying attention to the movie and I kept thinking to myself, there's not really any blood until like toward the end of it,
The
which
very, very end. Yeah.
in hindsight, I guess does a decent job of further removing it from Saw.
hmm I it definitely well, so I have an interesting thought, and I may be completely off base here, but we all know that Saw is like the original psychological like trap puzzle type of movie. It definitely popularized the genre at least. And I always was under the assumption that escape rooms were a result of how famous Saw became. Because over the past like decade and a half, we have definitely seen escape rooms rise. And so watching an escape room movie definitely felt like watching a softer version of Saw all the way through.
Yeah.
Uh, but I thought it was far more original than Saw. As much as I love Saw, I just thought all the traps here were obviously more original, and that's because they're not trying to rip out their rib cages like they are in the Saw franchise.
Yeah. I mean, they even have that like place where it's like there's snow and there's a frozen lake, and you wouldn't expect to see that in a Saw movie.
That was so cool. That was so cool. I love that scene. Sucks for the nerd who died, but it was such a cool scene.
Yeah, like up until that point, he really believed that it was a safe escape room challenge.
That kind of upset me. And you know what? This is my one critique of the whole movie. It's the acting. Like I really couldn't believe the acting whatsoever. The only character I could somewhat believe was the military woman and the everyday man dude. I forget what his name is. I think it's Mike or something. Like they were the only two characters I could like truly believe because like the main character girl, I couldn't believe her shyness whatsoever. Her shyness felt so forced.
See, I actually found the acting believable, but
Really?
yeah, but I don't know if that's just me like surprisingly interested in the movie more than I thought I would be and just like shrugging off the acting. Like I don't know if that's
Accepting the
at
acting.
play. Have you ever seen the movie Cube?
Cube, but no, I haven't even heard of it.
So it was this movie in the 90s where like a few people with I guess mysterious backgrounds, they wake up in this giant cube and it's like sci-fi horror and it has like traps and like all these different rooms they go into and it feels like there's like an infinite number of combinations that they go through. Like it's like really freaking hard trying to escape the cube and it's like that first movie is so good. The sequel and prequel are garbage though.
Well,
um
I'm a big fan of these psychological films that have been coming out a lot recently. Uh, have you ever seen? I think it's called The Circle. It is incredibly ridiculous, but it's really good. I think actually it's just called Circle. It's not called The Circle, but it's definitely another psychological film. But obviously this one's a puzzle, because it's an escape room. And have you done any escape rooms, Steven?
So in college, a few of my friends in like the Harry Potter Club, Dumbledore's Anteaters, we talked about potentially doing a Harry Potter escape room in like Diamond Jamboree, but we never ended up doing that.
I didn't even know there was a Harry Potter escape room.
But I did eventually end up doing one 3 years ago. It was like Welcome Week at University of Sussex. This was when I was like studying abroad in England,
Mhm.
and like the escape room challenge was one of the little activities that they had, and so like me and a few people I've never met were like in it and like trying to get the right combinations for like a couple of things, and I was
Did you
just like
escape in time?
we did not, and I
Oh,
was like the least helpful in that, so
oh.
hopefully I'm more helpful here.
Well, considering the notes, that's all we have to do is talk. I think we got it quite covered.
Okay. Have you ever done an escape room before this?
Yes, I've done I think 5 or 6 of them, and I've never lost an escape room yet. Um, they're super dope. I really like doing escape rooms. It's usually me, my former roommate, but obviously I knew him before he became my roommate. And just a group of buddies that we usually go with, and we usually rotate like 1 or 2 people out. And we have completed every single escape room we've been in. We've been in a quarantine lockdown one. We've been in a horror school where like it's all broken down, bloodied, and dark. We did a Fantasyland type of sort. We've done a good amount of them. We did one called I think Puzzle Master, where which looks just like this room, to be honest. It was
Oh,
just a
weird.
person's, yeah, I know, a person's office of sorts, and then after you complete like a good amount of the puzzles, you opened up his personal back room and had to complete a bunch of puzzles there. So watching the movie Escape Room, I was really thrown for a loop because some of that stuff was very accurate to what escape rooms are really like.
Yeah, I really loved that hallucination scene, like the design of that room and also like how it looked when they were tripping out and like
That was such a wild scene.
and you know, Escape Room 1 was like one of those movies where it feels like it has multiple endings where you're like, "Oh, it's going to end here, right? Oh no, oh, it's going to end here or here." You know, did you get that feeling watching it?
I did get that feeling because every time I thought it was gonna end, a new scene started, and I was like, "Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait, what?" Because
Yes.
it definitely feels like it's gonna end when the guy wins, right? Like number one, like that's like all right, ending number one in my opinion. And then that doesn't happen, and then you think the movie's gonna end once they defeat or kill the villain or one of the villains, right? So I'm like, okay, this is where it ends. And then no, then she goes back and all the police are going in. I'm like, oh, it's gonna end with them finding the escape room. No, then it turns out they're setting up a part two, and then it cuts to her telling the other winner that she tracked them down. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, it's good. And
it's like
there,
6 months later.
yeah, 6 months later, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna end here where they're discussing possibly taking down this giant multi-billionaire corporation. And then no, it cuts to in another escape room. And I was like, what the frack fatty
Yeah,
whack is
the
this?
plane.
Yeah. Which obviously is where we start the second movie, which is on the plane.
Yeah, like I guess we'll just go into the second movie now. But yeah, it begins with like the plane thing that this escape room company planned out. And so Ben and Zoe are back and they're on it, but there are also like all these other new characters on it. And it's kind of unfortunate because there are these people on the plane who did not sign up for this escape room, and like only a few of them signed up for it and think they're going to like a certain destination, and then the plane crashes and the only survivors are like the stars of this movie who signed up for this escape room thing or like are seeking out this escape room. And I felt like they were rather lazy with the naming of these characters. Like the actors pretty much play characters with like the same first names as them.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the acting for like all of these people? Was it an improvement from the first one, in your opinion, or not?
I thought it was just as cheesy, but I definitely think the stakes were raised, so I wasn't as upset. But yeah, I thought it was just as cheesy as the first one.
Right. Yeah, it felt really cheesy to me too. But yeah, so they crash into this mountain and they're like trekking for a long time until they find this cabin. And it's kind of the reverse of what happens in the first movie where they end up in a cabin and go outside. It's like this time they're going into a cabin and then going even further to like other rooms. It kind of feels like it harkens back to like those, you know, those classic horror movies that take place in cabins like Evil Dead or even Cabin Fever and stuff like
Oh,
that.
true.
Or even The Cabin in the Woods, which I think is kind of overrated, but that's neither here nor there.
How dare you accuse Cabin in the Woods being overrated? How dare you?
In my opinion, the movie Rubber does what Cabin in the Woods tries, but better.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I have seen Rubber. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Why does this thing happen? No reason. I just love that whole speech. Like all the ridiculous stuff that happens in that movie.
That movie is of a sentient evil tire will never be surpassed by ridiculousness. The only thing I can imagine that could surpass Rubber, it'd be like Eggshell, where it's just like a sentient egg.
Is that like a real thing?
No, but I hope someone makes it just to one up me.
Well, speaking of eggs, in this cabin, there's like this huge bowl of cereal filled with milk and eggs, and it's like the challenge is to like eat through it in order to like unlock this box that has the key to the next room.
Which I think there could have just been other ways around it. Like I think they could have just like shared it or spilled it around or done something. But the girl just volunteered and just ate it all.
Yeah, like before that, there's this debate. Like lots of them are like, "Oh, I'm not touching that," and I guess that's the whole point of like, it looks disgusting, so you wouldn't expect everyone to like try to work together eating it.
Mm-hmm.
But they got through that fairly easily. So they get the key, and then they go to this next room, which resembles a McDonald's for some reason.
What do you mean for some reason? Because one of the girl's backstories is that she's a fast food joint worker.
Yeah, and you get like these like flashbacks from her. She was traumatized by all like the rude customers.
And that's why she's affected by people raising their voices. Which is like her whole problem, which is like a terrible trait to have, where you're just afraid of people raising their voices. Because what are you gonna do? People just raise them all the time.
Yeah, and I mean Thomas, he loses it a lot and raises his voice. So like she reacts to that, and it's not very pretty to watch. It's really frustrating seeing, I guess in any survival story, it's very frustrating seeing the characters get mad at each other, but it's like it kind of has to happen in order for there to be conflict, you know?
Yeah, there's always that internal debate before they start working together, or in some cases never work together at all, but they still have to talk to each other.
Right. So on the counter, there's this McRib. Like at first, people are like fine with it, but they're like, "Hang on, what if the food in these escape rooms is poisoned?" And like you have like some of them like not being sure, and it's like it makes them really apprehensive to try this McRib. And it's like this weird subliminal marketing thing where it's like, is the McRib to die for? Like, is that the thing that's going on here?
You know, I think it's quite clear that the McRib is never worth dying for. Every time the McRib comes to McDonald's, I buy it and I regret it. Every single time.
I thought you were going to say you buy it and you throw it away out of spite.
Bro, I should start doing that instead, but that is a bigger waste of money.
Yeah, it is.
But like the McRib's never worth fighting for, and I was disappointed that someone was like saying that they should just eat it because they're hungry, and I was like, bruh, it's just a McRib. You're in a McDonald's of sorts. You could probably find more food.
And like when no one eats it right away, you see like the tables in this like McDonald's replica place start like closing in on them, and it's like they're worried about being squashed by the table, so it's like they kind of have to like eat the McRib or else they'll die.
But do you remember the twist about the McRib? Do you remember the twist?
Oh, yes.
The fact that the McRib was made from ribs of the person from the last movie? Oh, that was terrible. It was gross.
Yeah.
It was gross. I think it was Mike. Bro, the fact that McRib was made from Mike's ribs, gross. Gross.
Well, I mean, we shouldn't alienate all our potential cannibalistic listeners. No, I'm kidding.
How could you attack the listeners?
Have you ever watched Hannibal, the TV show?
No, I have not.
It's such a great show, and like the food on there, even though like in the story it's made of human flesh, like it's made of like food, like it's not made of human, and it just looks delicious, and it's like I have to like eat something while watching the show.
Dude, no, Steven. No. Though I will say one time because I was used to be a lot of pre-med, so I used to go to a lot of pre-med stuff. And I went to a few autopsy labs, and the smell in there apparently makes your brain want to have food. So it's not the body itself, it's just the smell of the chemicals. And I was like, this is the worst thing ever. I should not be getting hungry looking at cadavers of human beings.
Wow, I'm legitimately questioning whether I should edit that out.
What? What? But you think the FBI is gonna come and take me away because
well, I mean that would be
hungry.
to our benefit if they like find us in this escape room and break us out.
Honestly, they've given us nothing here. They've given us nothing here. I just have to sit here in an escape room and talk about Escape Room 2, the movie.
Yeah, it's like whoever set this up, it's really weird planning. Like, don't put them in charge of the planning committee.
Oh, the party planning committee. Oh, 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 oh.
Is that another The Office reference?
Yes, it's the Office reference.
Bringing it back to the first episode.
Bro, I always gotta come back. I gotta come back. You can't just line it up for me and not expect me to knock it down.
Yeah, we gotta have all these callbacks to appease the listeners who love nostalgia garbage.
Listen, Steven, it's not nostalgia garbage. People probably listen to episode 1 before they listen to the rest, which means I gotta keep it going.
Right, we gotta be like, hey, remember that time that me and Andres talked about The Walking Dead? That was something.
Do you remember the time we talked about A Quiet Place, and then we talked about The Walking Dead, and then we talked about The Candyman, and then we talked about this? And then do you remember the time that we talked about Spiral? Oh, but you wouldn't have, because that's a future episode. Oh!
Yeah.
That's right. I already had the conversation with Steven, but you wouldn't know that because it hasn't happened. Oh, take that.
Yeah, so I guess I don't need to put that at the end of the episode since it's already here.
Nah, you're gonna have to remind them. You're gonna have to remind them. They're probably overwhelmed by all my yelling.
Just raise the volume in post, make it even more overwhelming. No, I won't do that.
Please, no. Please. I like to listen to these. Where were we? Right. So let's just skip towards the final act of the movie. All right. So
yeah, because some of the rooms weren't very creative. Like one of them was a bathroom, which was just Saw all over again. And
and they had to stick their hand down a dirty toilet. You know, the usual.
And there was a sandlot. There was baseball involved. It was weird.
It was weird. One of them was a movie nerd, so he was able to make all these movie references, and he had to like recite like moments from movies to move on. It was really lame.
Yeah, and like a couple of them get injured, one of them dies along the way. But yeah, like let's just get into like the final act. It's like since like everything else that happened was like super boring.
But the final act where they encounter the rich people, you know, but it's all an illusion. It was all just screens, and the rich people weren't actually there. And they find out they're in another escape room.
And like on the screen, you see like the rich people like just eating a fine steak, like just taunting them in their faces. But also the steak is also made out of a victim.
Exactly. Was exactly what I was about to say. Which the steak was also made out of Mike and probably other people.
Yeah, so like this really adds to the lore of Escape Room. Like these rich people in charge of this are cannibals, apparently.
Did you see the subtle Batman reference, Steven?
Are you talking about when they're like climbing up that wall with a rope?
No, I'm not talking about that. But I guess that you could totally see that as a Batman reference. The Adam West Batman reference. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can totally see that. No, I was talking about the Court of Owls reference, where one of them had an owl pin
Oh, yeah.
because it represents them being the elite that control everything.
Yeah, that really stuck out to me. And it's super weird because this is like a Sony movie, so it's like, do they have to ask for permission for that?
I know, right?
Speaking of owls, I thought it was a real hoot when they all like lost it and start like fighting each other and blaming each other. But of course, Zoe and Ben are like trying to calm everyone down. But like during this whole fight where they have like they're given these drills to like use against each other, and it's like last person standing gets to escape, and like, you know, pretty much everyone except for Zoe and Ben ends up like killing each other. And on one hand, I was like kind of okay with that because like I wasn't as invested in these new characters as I was with Ben and Zoe. So it's like I was really interested in seeing what would happen with them. Like these newer characters felt really bland to me, like despite their backstories. One of them is a janitor and talks about like how much he hates his life and like cleaning up at like schools or whatever. But then Zoe and Ben go to this next room and they encounter a character played by none other than John Cena. Yeah, who would have seen that coming?
Oh, not me. I didn't see him coming at all.
Yeah, and he like has a beard and like he explains that he's been stuck in this escape room for years. He's like lost some humanity. It's like I totally didn't expect to see John Cena in a role like this.
Me neither. But do you remember, not only has he been there for years, but he's also the original survivor of the escape room?
Yeah, that's wild.
Which, like, you would think the very first one would get a prize, but no. His prize was that they keep him forever.
They like force him to watch Ratatouille on loop, so he has that movie memorized.
And he would have learned about the little secret detail in the movie in which, Steven, I don't know if you know this, where later in the movie,
Is this the thing you say on your podcast?
Kiss the girl, right? And Remy's controlling him, and Remy pushes him forward and makes him kiss the girl, and which not all of us look over, but you shouldn't be looking over whatsoever. Why? Because Remy has no knowledge of how human interactions work. Maybe he does because he watches Gusteau on TV. But he should have no knowledge of what's done, and I assume that's not how it works in the Rat Kingdom. So, what does that mean? That means earlier in the movie, when Remy is being washed away in Ratatouille, and he's running, he gets missed by a gunshot, and he gets scared. He looks back, and then he sees that the guy is kissing the girl. And that's where Remy learns that you can always defuse situations by kissing the girl. Oh, and I bet you John Cena learned that. Watching the movie.
You gotta throw in those callbacks for the people of nostalgia and have heard Just Two Lads.
Yeah, who listens to Just Two Lads and listens to this? Huh?
Probably just me, to be honest.
Exactly. If you listen to this podcast and Just Two Lads, drop me a comment or send me a text or something because you're awesome and you will listen to two podcasts by people you know, probably.
Email delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, to email delayed replay about how you listen to Just Two Lads. Do that.
So yeah.
Didn't need to derail you with some knowledge bomb, Steven.
Oh, is that what we're calling it now?
That was a knowledge bomb, and don't you try to act like it wasn't, Steven. Don't try to act like it wasn't.
Okay.
But how about them gray aliens, though? Am I right?
Oh, yeah. Like, that was a really weird part of the movie where, like, they fill that room, because, like, you know, the room where they find John Cena, they fill it with this hallucinogen, which starts making them see, like, gray aliens, and they're, like, super tall, and, like, their fingers are stretching, and it's, like, super trippy. It feels like they're trying to outdo the hallucinogenic scene in the first movie.
one? Yeah. I don't think they succeeded though. Well, I thought the aliens looked cool, not gonna lie, but I think the first movies hallucinogenics were way better, way better.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Especially the set design. Like this particular room was pretty bland. Like the one in the first movie had like the black and white pattern, and it looked really cool. But in this one, it's like a green room. Like it's that shade of green that you see in a Saw movie, pretty much.
Mm.
Which,
The gross green taint.
yeah,
Yeah. Which you can't tell, listeners, Steven and I know the Saw universe pretty well.
yeah.
Which, may I say, I was totally expecting like a Jigsaw type of reveal in this movie for them to like nonchalantly drop that this is another continuation of the Saw series, but alas, I was wrong.
Right. Well, in the hallucinogenic scene in this second movie, there is that moment where like Zoe's face looks like a puzzle and like the puzzle pieces come off, and they're pretty much like doing the poster of the first movie but in the scene in this one, which was really meta and really weird.
Really meta, really weird, but it also
Like,
felt like the weirdest foreshadowing ever. Had you seen the poster the first time around?
yeah, I actually laughed during this part because like I remembered the poster.
It's super weird, dude. Like it really should have not really been it. They should at least done another person's face, at least.
Yeah. But yeah, they really went like super obvious with this. They notice like this puzzle in the corner, and like they're trying to like put it together. It has like a code on it, and so like despite being like affected by like the hallucinogens, they're trying to like piece it together correctly. And once they get the code, they find the combination to open the next door, and they're able to free John Cena's character and bring him with them. Like he can't even remember his own name. That's how far removed he is.
Dude, John Cena is such a talented actor. That's all I have to tell you. He is such a talented actor. If you were to tell me that John Cena would play off the exquisite, if not incredible, if not Oscar-worthy performance in Escape Room 2, I wouldn't believe you. But, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this movie, you will notice that John Cena is probably the greatest actor of our generation. Period. Period.
I mean, is it John Cena or is it The Rock?
Well, I guess they'll have to duke it out for us to find out. Oh, yeah, buddy. We now have that coming up. Not really, but we probably really don't. I doubt that's ever going to happen. But if it does, I'll be excited.
DC has got to get on that Peacemaker versus Black Adam movie.
Dude, if that's how I get to see it, I want it. Like,
yes.
I want it.
But how can you see it if it's John Cena?
Oh, I'll see his costume. I'll see his costume.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Maybe not John Cena himself. I'll definitely see the costume.
Yeah, I love how he's described his character in the upcoming The Suicide Squad movie as like Captain America if you were a jerk.
Which is, I think, an accurate description by the way it looks.
Yeah, so that should be fun. But anyway, came back to Escape Room 2.
What? No, John Cena is the center.
Oh, okay, fine. Have you seen the Fred movies?
The what movies?
Fred, the YouTuber who
No,
got his
I remember Fred, but I never saw any of his movies. Why?
So John Cena plays his dad in those movies.
Dude, what?
Stone silence.
I guess you have to start somewhere, right? I guess that's what it comes down to, that you gotta start somewhere.
I mean, yeah, he started from the bottom, made his way into that one Scooby-Doo movie along the way where he played himself.
I think in the Fred universe, Fred's voice is so high pitched because when he was made or when he was born, he
When it was made.
when he was made, when he was born, the genes had to counteract to being unseen and invisible, and therefore, as a counteraction, he got the high pitched voice.
Wow. What a pitch perfect theory.
Dude, I think I just solved the Fred cinematic universe questions. It all makes sense now.
Yeah, this is the content that all the movie buffs are looking for. They want all the answers to the Fred movies, why they happened, why they're a thing.
Dude, I've been asking. I remember seeing them on TV and being like, why are these being made at all?
You should check out Triple Play's episode on the Fred trilogy. I'll link them.
No, don't link them. No. If Steven links them, don't you click. Don't you click.
But anyway, so they go into this room that's filling up with mayonnaise, which looks super disgusting.
Dude, so gross. So gross. The sounds in that maze were even grosser. You just hear
Like
the squishing and the clopping and oh.
Yeah, and they have to like climb up to this hatch that has the word moist written on it. So their most trying obstacle so far.
Dude, I think I would like have to close my eyes and like pretend I'm somewhere else to go through it if I was really in that situation.
Yeah, I'd probably die, to be honest. Like I wouldn't make it out because of how like super high the thing is, and how like since they have John Cena with them, it's easier for them to like make it up, and then he's able to climb up with them. But I'd probably just straight up die.
Dude, I think I would have died just from the get-go. If I'm being honest. I probably wouldn't have even survived the first movie, let alone survive the second.
That actually reminds me of this Facebook post that I saw where you have to eat 2 pounds of one of these in one sitting and you'll get $50,000. Which one would you choose to eat? And the options are Peeps, Red Vines, but like the black kind, so it's like black licorice, candy corn, and those like marshmallow circus peanut things.
And which did you choose?
I couldn't figure out what I would choose because, like, okay, I guess the peanuts one I'm not that familiar with, but the others
I've never really had them.
Right, so like the others, I know well, I don't know about the black licorice, but the Peeps and the candy corn I do enjoy. I just don't know how like eating 2 pounds in one sitting would affect me. But like, I guess the key would be to like just continue sitting for a really long time, right? So it's still technically the one sitting.
Do you count that? Would you count that?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
You know what? I'll go with that one too. You know what? I'll count it and I'll go with it too.
All right.
I count it.
I'd probably go with the candy corn since, like, because they're tiny, they seem more manageable.
But it's
like,
so much.
in mind.
It's so much. Is it not? Would you not say it is?
I mean, it is, but like, if I had to choose, and thankfully, whoever put us in this escape room isn't forcing us to do this particular thing.
Here comes the candy corn from the sky.
I mean, there is like a bag of Cool Ranch Doritos in that corner over there, but I don't really trust it.
Why didn't you point that out? Steve, I'll be right back. Hold on, stepping away from the mic.
Dude, it could be poisoned. You don't know. Dude, come on.
I think they're really good. I think they taste great.
Oh, well, if they taste great, that means we're not in England. Because, like, the Doritos over there are like, not as flavorful. Like, the Cool Ranch ones, at least. And maybe the cheese ones. It's super weird.
You know what, Steven?
So I guess that means we're not in England right now, is what I'm saying.
These don't taste like American Doritos, though. I'm going to tell you that much.
Oh, they don't?
They're good, but they don't taste American. I think they've been shipped in.
From where?
I don't know, Steven. I haven't had Doritos around the world.
I thought you were like a Doritos aficionado, man.
Listen, if I had to pinpoint it, Steven, do you know which direction's north in here?
I can't really tell.
All right, you know what? It's okay. I'll use my Dorito senses. Yeah. These are Canadian, specifically from Saskatchewan. They're from Saskatchewan, Canada.
Well, if we do get out of here, I hope the drive home isn't too long.
Wait, are you assuming that we're in Canada right now?
Well, I don't know. Like,
Steven, that's where the movie took place. That's where the movie took place, Steven. If you think that we're in Canada, that means we are in an actual escape room, Steven. It's no longer a game.
speaking of locations, I thought it was funny how the first escape room took place in Chicago, and that's like where Candyman took place. So it's like doing those back to back.
It's the same universe to me now, because we talked about Candyman and now we're talking about this, and they all took place in Chicago. Wow, I didn't even put those two details together. For being honest, I didn't put those in together at all.
And like Zoe was being told to be like a better college student when the lesson in the original Candyman was to not be an overachiever. Like we saw.
True. And now this girl is the definition of an overachiever.
Right. So while you're like munching away at those, where were we in this second movie?
We were, I think, on the maze of humans or whatever.
Oh, right. So they get out of the mayonnaise room and get into like the maze of humans, which has like
the mayonnaise, the humanity. So
the humanese.
Oh, you're the worst. I hate mayonnaise, Steven. It's my least favorite condiment. I hate it with all my heart and passion.
Like just by itself or on any sandwich?
Dude, anything at all. Mayonnaise in anything just grosses me out. If I could taste the mayo taste, I just gag. I get grossed out.
You know, when I was a kid, I thought that PB&J and mayonnaise would be a good idea. It wasn't. It really wasn't.
Bruh. Did you just tell me you combine PB&J with mayo?
Maybe that's why I'm in this room. Maybe that's what I'm being punished for.
Dude, Steven, I can't believe you.
I was a kid though. I haven't tried it since then.
Steven, what else have you added mayo to?
Just normal sandwiches that you would expect to put mayo on.
Are you lying to me? You lying to me?
Steven,
are you the game master? Are you the game master?
No, I'm not smart enough to come up with
Steven,
this.
are you playing me right now? What? I think you broke character. No one would put mayo on PB&J. Steven, you're the game master, aren't you? Where's the exit, Steven? Where's the exit?
Andres, when have I ever lied to you?
I wouldn't know. It's a lie.
Everything on this podcast has been truthful. We have been truthful about these movies that we saw. And
is this table even real? All right, maybe I can't lift it, but is the table even real?
What, did you think it was going to be made of cake or something?
Is it? Are you cake? Is the room cake?
I'm not at a cake.
Steven, I don't trust any of this anymore.
All right, look, we got to finish.
We got to get out of here, man.
We got to finish talking about this movie to get out of here.
We got to get out, Steven. It's driving me mad, man. Just look at the clock. It's a cute kitty. I can't take it much longer.
All right, calm down. I'll just think of the Emoji Movie. That'll calm me down.
Oh, Sir Patrick Stewart.
Sir Patrick Stewart is the poop emoji.
Oh, all right. I'm calm now.
So they make it through the foul-smelling maze of humans, and then they finally confront the rich people face to face, finally. What'd you think of the way that they, like, I guess, went up against these rich people? Like, was the execution satisfying to you?
I would say that I never expected them to actually reach him. And now that they did, I was expecting something bigger to happen as a result. But nothing that huge happened.
Yeah, I mean, John Cena does beat up some of them, and, like, a few of them try escaping, but it's like, you know, since beyond this building there's just wilderness, we don't know, like, how long they'd have to survive. But thankfully Zoe and Ben make it out and they call the authorities, and it seems like they're on the way. But
When they teased Escape Room 3, bruh, I was ready. I was ready. Because at this point, I'm just invested in these characters. At this point, I'm just invested into the overall plot. Even though one would say you watch this movie just for entertainment, I'm invested.
yeah, because, like, one of the rich people, like, talks in, like, their headset or whatever to one of the others, and it's like, it's time for Plan B or whatever it was they said, and it's like, are you serious? Like, I just want, like, Ben and Zoe to be out of this ordeal, and I don't know, maybe, like,
I want fresh
they'll-
characters, you know?
yeah, because, like, I want Ben and Zoe's lives to just be normal from here on out, and let newer characters deal with this and hopefully put an end to this. Because, like, I hate that horror movie trope where, like, the familiar character who survives comes back just to die in the next one, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Which is always the most, like, stupid thing ever. Because they survive one only to die in the next.
Yeah, so I'm glad they survived again here, but if they do make a third one, I'd prefer that they just not touch those characters. And I don't know how well the movie is doing now. Like, it seems like it could be doing better, so I don't know if that calls into question the fate of the third movie. But yeah, that's Escape Room 2. Overall, what are your final thoughts and score out of 10?
Well, listen, I gave the first one a 7. And I think I would have to give this one a 6. Even though I really liked the first one, it still only got a 7 for me. So this one gets a 6 because I didn't think it lived up to the first one.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, the first one I actually gave an 8. I guess because I was expecting it to be so much worse that I was, like, surprised by how not bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one, I probably agree. It's like a 6. Like we said, there were, like, some scenes that felt really boring, and also, like, this weird obsession with just food everywhere is just super weird. Felt like
Yeah, what was up with all the food, man? That was never even addressed. It was just constantly food.
Yeah, it just detracted from, like, the thriller aspect of it and made it, like, more comedic to me.
Yeah, it just made it so much more odd.
Yeah. No, I actually had this dream the other night that we were talking about Escape Room 2, and then we went on a tangent talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies.
What?
But, like, we were talking about it during some sort of harvest festival for some reason.
That's not strange at all, Steven. Not strange at all.
Did you hear that?
What? Is that the door? Is that the door?
It's open now.
Oh, I can eat my Doritos in the fresh air. I can eat my Doritos in the fresh air.
Well,
Steve, get out of my way. Steve, get out of my way.
We should probably take you to a doctor, make sure there's nothing in those Doritos first. But
Steven,
yeah.
it's another one. But the tape recorder is... Why? Why,
snap.
cruel world? Why? I want to go home.
All right, press the button so we can play it.
Do you know how to play? I've never used one of these. Do you know how to use one?
Oh, let me see.
Hello. You have made it out of the escape room, but you still have to play another game, and that game is to talk about Spiral.
The tape recorder says we have to talk about Spiral to get out of this one. No. Why? Why? Why?
Well, I guess if we make it out of this, we'll hopefully be able to get this episode out, and then I guess the Spiral episode 2 sometime after that. So yeah, in case things end up fine with us, what are your plugs, Andres?
Well, besides Cool Ranch Doritos, I guess my plugs would be I'm on another podcast called Just Two Lads. You can follow us at Just Two Lads Pod on most social medias. If you want to follow me and look into my life, I'm at Pojeki. That's Pojeki on almost all social media. And if you want more of me, let Steven know, and he'll keep trapping me in rooms, since I'm pretty sure he's the game master.
I'm not behind this. I know I've been looking calm, but it's because I'm trying to keep my wits so that we can survive this, you know?
So that's where you can find me if you're looking for me.
Okay. As for my plugs, I'm at Steven Schinder on Instagram and Twitter, Steven Schinder Storytelling on Facebook, and you can also find my fantasy horror comedy novel Lemons and Like Rain on Amazon. More details on that at stevenschinder.com. And I'm also editing and writing some stuff for Culture Slate, so you can find them at Culture Slate pretty much everywhere, and I'll link those in the show notes if we make it out of this thing. And yeah, I guess no emails this time, but if you want to email us, email delayedreplaypodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, hopefully we'll make it out of this.
Steven?
Yeah.
Why is there a saw in the corner? Why is there a handsaw in the corner?
Oh my gosh. Well, to be continued. Without further delay, have a good day.